The whole thing about this, about me being an elder, is that I've been dealing in drugs for many, many years. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins.
You're listening to With AI FM.
Hi everyone, welcome to Creatives with AI. I'm your host, Lena Robinson, and today is our first, well, for me anyway, first ever in-person conversation with somebody, and I'm really delighted to say that it is my dear friend and somebody that I met a couple of years ago, Tom Morley, who is one of my fine artists who does work with AI with the FTSQ Gallery, but he also has a fine arts degree and was one of the original founders of 80s band Scritti Politti, which I bet some of you already know who that is. So Tom, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm really excited today to talk to you about the journey that you've had. Obviously, you've started in the music industry and the arts world with your fine arts degree back in the 80s. That's right, isn't it?
That's right.
In the 80s. And now you're on a podcast called Creatives with AI, and I know you're using AI for multiple things. Tell me about that journey that took you from there to where we are today.
It's very interesting. Just listening to you describe it. I mean, I'm 70 years old now, so I'm officially diverse, which is great for booking me. Even though I'm a white male. So yeah, my journey. I mean, let me tell you the journey in reverse, because yesterday I was out in a big country house drumming on drums like this with a bunch of lawyers. Now, that would seem to have nothing to do with AI, but part of the publicity that got me that gig was AI pictures like this. And you'll see in those pictures, what I do on LinkedIn is I make drums look really attractive. So I don't have just, photos of the drum store. I have pictures like this of drums flying, drums with wings, because in the kind of media scrum of trying to make things look attractive, you can't just do documentaries anymore. You got to make it look superlative. Like you've got the best drums, you've got the most exciting drums. They're going to have the most exciting experience. So that was yesterday. On Friday, I was invited to do a gig for Fox and Badge. I don't know if you know Fox and Badge. It's like Victoria's Secret on acid. They said,
cool.
Can you do a drum circle between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. because we've got a Mad Max theme and we want you to be in the Thunderdome? And at first I thought, I can't possibly do that. I'm 70 years old. My bedtime's 9. And then I thought, what the hell? I'm going to do it anyway. And there, in their backgrounds, in their stuff, they had lots of AI visuals making it kind of Thunderdome like, and I got some footage of that and I needed to put it together, and I did some AI Mad Max cars, which you'll see here, which just when I cut them into the video, it kind of gave this whole Thunderdome scheme. So, and the whole thing about this, about me being an elder, is that I've been dealing in drugs for many, many years. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. They're drugs we produce ourselves, so nobody makes any money out of them. But they are produced by us as we drum together, as we sing together, as we, and with oxytocin, it's a kind of tribal thing that when you gather around a circle and you drum and you sing and you dance, you produce oxytocin yourself, but then it kind of it connects. You connect very fast with people around you. So my journey with starting with a very basic beat on a drum, which you'll hear here, starting with that very basic beat, you'd think that has nothing to do with AI. It just has to do with firelight and people drumming in the dark. But as you attract people you need to hold their attention. And I think, I'll tell you about one other gig is that a couple of weeks ago I did a charity gig. And at first they just asked me to be a judge on the panel because it's called Events Are Talented. And it's for people in the events business, rather than just do all the background stuff, to actually get on stage and sing. So I said to them, well, if I'm there as a judge, why don't I do an icebreaker anyway? And they said, I'm not sure if we have time. I said, look at this video, which had some AI stuff in it and me drumming. And they said, oh yeah, do the icebreaker. And then they said, we're going to have a charity auction. And I said, well, if you're having a charity auction, why don't I do some pictures? And they said, I don't know if we've got time for that. I said, take a look at these pictures, which are some of the ones that you saw that brought us together in the first place. And they said, we love these pictures. So I had $1,000 just auctioning those pictures. They're now on their way to France.
These were the Brighton ones.
Yeah, drums. And I said, well, look, I said, how are you opening the show? They said, well, we're just going to have a guy on stage. And I said, why don't I make you an AI movie intro to the whole thing, where I used Midjourney, Runway, and had them speaking, the past winners speaking. I did, which was so great, because if we'd have had to get film cameras to them all, or get them to film, they'd have all come in different formats. And
yeah. Would have been a nightmare.
And
costly too.
I said, so I said, just send me one photo of you with your mouth slightly open. I'll do the rest. And they said, well, what are we going to say? And so I said to the organizer, why don't we write a song? Right. So we'll write an AI song on Suno. And he said, how long will that take? I said, we'll do it right now.
Oh, wow.
I was meeting him in the lobby of a hotel. I said, what style do you want it? Rock, stadium rock, da-da-da. And he and I wrote it together. Luckily, I took 2 pairs of headphones to that meeting. So he and I wrote together without disturbing the rest of the bar. And what was so lovely, as feedback from him, as I tweaked it to be what he wanted, he said, how did you know to do that? How I knew how to do that, and how I knew how to get $1,000 for the pictures in the auction, is that I've done 10,000 hours of art, at art school, 4 years at art school, many years as a designer for albums and posters and stuff. I've done a lot of songwriting. I had a solo deal for a while. I've worked with David Bowie. I've worked with all sorts of people in the music business. I was in Scritti Politti a long time. So I've done 10,000 hours of music. Now, that allowed me in that hotel lobby to put that whole package together of the song, the intro, the auction pictures, everything. Bang, 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 bang. And what really hacks me off, I would use a stronger word, but I won't.
You can speak, it's fine.
No, I won't give the editor too much work in this. It is what really hacks me off is people say, it's so easy. You just have to tell it a few things and get what you want.
Yeah.
No, that it's a fantasy that you get that. Or you can get something, you can approximate something, but it's not going to be of, and all the people, all the artists I know who use AI and musicians, we know how to tweak it. It's that tweaking that brings in the quality. You can have as much quantity as you want, but there's some of us who are going for quality, and you hear it and you feel it and you see it. You may not be able to identify it, but you feel it.
So when did you? I mean, obviously, you've got this long history and back catalogue of your own creativity. At which point did you start looking at AI and go, I might give this a go? Because as you said, you're using it for your fine art, you're using it for music, and you're using it for filmmaking. At which point, how long ago did you start going, I might have a look at this? Because a lot of people in your situation would be scared.
Yeah.
By it, right?
Yeah. I think I remember a friend of mine posted a picture on Facebook, And it was, funnily enough, of a Mad Max sort of car. And I was looking at it, and I was looking at the detail. I thought, wow, that is beautiful. And she said, oh, it was done in Midjourney. And I thought, oh, I've got to check this out. And as soon as I kind of got into Midjourney, and it said, you can pay for a subscription. I said, right, where's my car? I'm on, I'm on. And you can either do it slow or you can do it fast. So I go, yeah, I'm doing it fast. And bang, bang, bang. And I tell you, I didn't really sleep for probably the first couple of weeks. But it was so difficult to get what you wanted. You had to tweak it, pray, tweak it, pray, tweak it, have a coffee, and then, but now, there's a thing, you see, there's pioneers. If you're a pioneer, like all the people who used HTML to build websites, and then they started bringing out templates, and then they started making it easier. But there's a kind of camaraderie between all the people who learned HTML and learned how to get everything just in line on different browsers, which was, it was like kind of the Klondike, gold rush. We were all digging. And it was similar with AI. I joined a number of groups for Midjourney and stuff. And all saying, yeah, this is how, if you want bright eyes in a model, right, put in Vogue cover shot. Because and if you've ever done any photo shoots, so as I've done many times in the pop business, when the photographer takes a shot and then they look down to check it, or they used to take Polaroids to check it, what they're looking for is the eyes. So if the eyes are in focus, then they don't care about all this. Can be done, but they have to get the eyes. So, and there were some models I remember watching. I think you see it in the September issue of Vogue, that film about it. They're talking about one of the models. They say she has a lazy eye. You have to get her in the first half hour,
right?
Because otherwise,
gets tired.
So, in Midjourney, as just one of the things that we shared in those early days, you wanted good eyes, you just say Vogue cover shot, but without the Vogue, logo. And then suddenly you'd get all these beautiful pictures, these eyes like this, but you'd have to say Vogue cover shot with smiling model. No, smiling eyes. If you said smiling, you'd get the Joker,
right.
Jack Nicholson as the Joker, suddenly go, I didn't want that. Smiling eyes. So then you get the Vogue model kind of looking quite kind, looking interesting.
Human.
Human. Yeah, you get human, but kind of elevated in that Vogue way. And if you look at any magazine stand anywhere, at the station, anywhere, 90% is people looking at you. And the reason they do that is because we engage with eyes to check if we're safe or not. It's what we've always done. So we swapped all sorts of tricks like that in the early days, and it meant we didn't sleep much, but we didn't care. It's like we're on this roll. And then, as you're asking, how did I get into it? That's how I got into the visuals. And then a friend of mine called Bruno Bridge, who's a great producer, really good with sound at Bridge Studios off the M25. He sent me a thing, and he said, I just did this on Suno. And and we are so used to listening to, with studio ears, has it got the sub bass? Because when you're in a studio setting, in a music studio, you're always listening out for the frequencies. Has it got top high, middle high, middle, bass, sub bass? And I thought, he surely produced this himself because he understands sound. He said, no, I just did it on Suno.
Oh, so you couldn't tell?
No, I can.
Oh, wow.
No, I can tell. And he's a music producer. And I thought, well, I'm going to try this out. And then, again, I didn't sleep for a couple of weeks after that. I mean, it's outrageous. The quality that is coming through now, and we're kind of at the beginning. It's I'm going to say a bit more about this, about the quality and what you can do, because one of the main criticisms, which you're probably going to ask me that, so I'll answer your question now, is one of the main criticisms. And people who don't really understand AI, who haven't researched it, they say it can only ever do what has already been done, or a pastiche, or a collage of that. And to a certain extent, that was true at the beginning. But now, what it allows you to do is work with it as a medium that takes that as a platform, what's happened, but really build on it. And sometimes in a kind of exponential way. Like before I got up this morning, I wrote a song for a friend of mine in America, Jamie Wheel, who's written a book called Recapture the Rapture and Stealing Fire from the Gods. And I took some of his lyrics, and I know he likes Appalachian music. So I put it to an Appalachian band. I listed all the instruments, and then I thought, but we want to be able to dance to it. So I put with a Euro pop beat, right? And it's incredible. And if I'd have, all right, so I'm going to add one more thing to this. As you know, on the way here, I could hardly get here because I don't have any money. I do lots of work, but my money just disappeared. So very often I only have 30 pence in the bank, and yet I just called the guy on the way here. What do I invoice you for yesterday? $2,000. So I have $2,000 waiting in the wings, but I could hardly get here. But what I did on the journey, I had two ways of coming. I could have come on the Piccadilly line underground, or I could come on the overground. Now I chose the overground because I could stay online and I could keep working on that song, even though I was skint. I was doing the song as a favor, my mate in America, so I wasn't getting paid. It's $2,000 in the background, and the criticisms of people, even Brian Eno, I've seen, who I love and think he's great. He said the trouble with AI is you have too many options all the time. You never finish anything. It's iteration after iteration. I mean, that's one of his arguments. He said, I'd much rather go down to my garden studio and, work on it and feel that the blood, sweat and tears. These are not his words, but it is what people say. Where's the blood, sweat and tears? Now, when you're working class and you're skint, you don't have a garden studio. Nor do you have 2 days to take off because you're on your way to something else. You're hustling all the time. So I think AI is a gift to skint people with ideas. You can be, you can be the artist in the attic with a rent person banging on the door, and you go, excuse me, I'm just mixing Appalachian music with Europop, and I'm putting my mate's lyrics to it. And it costs you $30 a month.
I think what's really interesting about that is that, and I've had this conversations with other artists on the show before, and other people just generally, is that, and you and I talked about this as well, about AI being the tool, and what comes out of it is still dependent on the human to a huge degree. You've used a term before, which I have used when talking to other people, always attribute it to you, that it's the art of knowing when to stop. Now that's experience, right? So the combination of, because you are prolific, you've given me access to your Midjourney. There's hundreds of thousands of images, but the quality of them is superb. And I think what's interesting is that without your existing experiences and your years in the pop industry and art and music, all the things, what you would be producing would be a very different thing. So I think that I'm so glad that you're not fearful of any of this stuff and you're excited by it, because I think what you produce is incredible. But I also think, also the fact that you, as you said, you were 70 years old, you've not been afraid from it. A lot of people are too scared. I was having a conversation with my cab driver on the way here, and I was telling him what we were doing, and he said, oh, how old is this person? I said, he's 70. He goes, and he's not afraid? And I went, no, they are complete opposite. He loves it. So I think that's just it's a really cool thing. It's the joining of the artist with the tool, like a paintbrush or anything else.
Yeah, the artists who are into all this, one of our experiences is you learn how the term is, you learn to slay your darlings. And so when you begin in any creative venture, if there's people who they work for 50, they work until their 50s, they take their money, retire early, create a studio, and whenever they show you a picture, right, that they've painted or something, they love it. They absolutely love it. And if you say to them, yeah, but you see the light, you've got the light source coming from there, and you've got a shadow going the other way here. You're going to have to fix that if you want that kind of picture. And they can't do it. They go, well, how would I adjust it? You can't adjust it. You just have to start again. What? So they cannot slay their darling. Go, yeah, chuck it. Use it as a stepping stone to actually do the picture you wanted to. And we get right from art school, from music school, any artist will grow up slaying their, destroying. No.
Well, all the greats had sketchbooks, there's thousands of pictures in them, didn't they? Getting them slaying the darlings, I guess, isn't it?
As you say, I have thousands of Midjourney pictures, but if you ask me to put 100 together in a book, I could do it, because I'd slay.
Well, you and I have done that several times anyway, haven't we?
Yeah. So that's what we have, and I think you can't. Well, maybe you can. No, I think you can't grow up dedicating yourself to making money in the business world and then go, now I will be an artist. I've got my garden studio. I've got my cleaner who comes in twice a week to tidy it up. Here we go. Now I'm going to make some art. Well, yeah, you're making an approximation of something, but you've got to. I love that Grace Jones version of Demolition Man, because you've got to demolish nearly everything in order to get something that you want. And we are not trained to do that. We're trained that life should be this, gradual.
Which it never is.
No, it's like that.
Yeah.
It's like that. But we pretend it's like that. And our CV, people say, you've got this gap in your CV. What happened between 1990 and 1992? You don't appear to. Yeah. I was living. Or I was depressed. I couldn't do anything. I was depressed for a year. I had a breakdown. What? Yeah. I'm back now.
It's life, though, isn't it?
It's life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So AI has come along, and in some ways, it's starting to blow up these industries, music, art, any kind of creative film. What do you think is kind of, we're in the now with it and you're using it a lot. What's it going to look like in 3 to 5 years' time from your perspective across those sort of industries? Or what are you going to be doing with it in 3 to 5 years' time is probably a better question.
Well, the stories are not going to die out. We're storytellers. We're different from the animals in that way, because we tell stories, and we tell tribal stories which carry on the culture of the tribe, and we have to make them engaging. So AI, I think, will always be at the service of storytelling, and when I say at the service, I don't mean subservient to. I mean it will be used in storytelling exactly the same as CGI was. Nobody said, I'm not watching that film because I don't really believe in Star Wars. I don't really believe Luke Skywalker dropped that thing, And they're always the same story anyway.
Yeah.
Trust your intuition. All of them, hero's journey, take all your weapons, train. In the end, trust your intuition.
Yep.
So that story will continue because it's very attractive and people like to think that could be them. They could be Luke Skywalker because they didn't have to train. They got the intuition. So where will it go? Technically, well, it's just kind of exponential. Musically, we'll probably discover bass sounds that we didn't know existed in the same way DJs did, 20 years ago. Bass just kept going down, which is, it's really sad because we grew up listening to, Kool and the Gang, Celebration Time, and which sounded like there will never be a bigger song than Get Down on It. If you listen to Get Down on It, it's about the size of a postage stamp, frequency-wise.
True.
And so we've been
still good though.
Yeah, it's a brilliant song, but DJs who still use those songs, they put in some sub bass, and they boost the high, remix. What remix does, keeps it current. So actually, I have no predictions that I can enlighten you with, other than it will be exponential. And Hollywood is, man. But all right, I'll tell you what I do think. People do not trust AI at the moment because they don't like being tricked. Nobody likes being tricked. Just when you look at a Vogue cover, you want to believe that person and those eyes, those smiling eyes, are looking at you and saying, you're a really attractive person. If I met you in real life, we'd be having a relationship right now. That's what you want to believe.
Dreams.
Actually, no. In Vogue, it's like we might share a drink together. In Cosmopolitan, it's you're my dream lover.
Yeah.
So they all look at the camera in different ways. So nobody likes being tricked. And at the moment, even the words AI, people go, oh, I hate it. It's AI. I've had people look at my pictures and go, oh man, that is a beautiful picture. I go, it's AI. And they go, I hate it.
Well, that's just ridiculous though, isn't it? Just ridiculous.
Yeah. It's weird, but that will not last.
No.
It might last for the next 10 years. What they're worried about is being tricked politically or tricked out of money, or nobody likes being tricked. That's why eyes are so important, because that's where we sense where we're being tricked or not, and we check out body language and all that. So something will happen where either people, the younger generation go, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. Or it sounds amazing. I don't care if it's like I wrote a song the other day and it sounded like a country song. It had Nashville guitar on it. It's absolutely beautiful. Guitar solos. And some people said, I know this is AI and I hate it, but this is a really good song. And not only that, and someone said, why didn't you sing that song yourself? And I said, well, because the AI had more emotion.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a country singer. And I wanted a female country singer. And he said, well, I hate to agree because I don't like AI, but this is a really good song. And it is being sung with the emotion that you want to get across in the song. So that, who knows what in the next 10 years, if that will become more common, because what we want as artists is the outcome.
Yeah.
People believe
vision to reality.
in love with the process. We love our garden stew. We love staying up late. We love drinking Red Bull and ruining our health. No, we don't. If we can have it in 15 minutes, we go for a walk in the park or a walk on the beach wherever we live. We would much prefer to do that. We're not addicted to the process. Some people love the process, but what we want is the outcome. And if you speak to any artist who's on tour promoting their album, it must be great doing all these songs. I go, no, I'm sick of these songs. In the tour bus, we're writing the next album. That's what we're interested in, you know. And yet there's this dream that everyone has. Oh, it must be amazing out promoting your work. No, we're fed up with these songs. You know? Why do people keep asking for the early stuff?
Because they love it.
They love it. Yeah. So there are going to be changes afoot, which I think are going to be less to do with. Well, they still will be to do with trust, but the trust will expand as people go, oh yeah. So I told a company the other day, I was asked for a risk assessment for a gig that I was doing. I looked up the room I was going to be performing in at a big country house venue, golf course. I looked up the room, put the venue in, and I said, write me a risk assessment. And it says like something like the Fitzroy Suite. And this is in ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Now, I hate writing risk assessments, but it wrote it in 10 seconds.
Oh,
and it says there's 4 steps up to the Fitzroy Suite, as long as the drummers carry them themselves.
Yep.
Participants don't do it. Because at first it said you could trip over on the step. I said, look, rewrite these. So there's no risk, right? So I said, oh, sorry. Yeah, so it wrote me a risk assessment with no risk to the participants. And I sent it off. And they said, thanks, it's very comprehensive. You obviously know the venue. I mean, how ChatGPT knew that, I have no idea. But man, it saved me a lot of time. Because I used to say in my risk assessments, there's a risk that the participants will get into the groove so much they won't be able to stop. They'll start singing in the car with their teenage sons and daughters. That's the biggest risk.
Love it.
Yeah. But they didn't like those types of risk assessments. So now I can just tosh them out and I sound like some expert on every venue in the country.
But it's also saving you time and headspace, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And I loved the fact that at first it said it was quite risky. I said, don't put them off, you know, just tell them there's no risk as long as they listen to the facilitator on that. Really, in seconds. And it bullet pointed it, everything.
I think the admin side and the business side of art and creativity, I know this because owning the art gallery and working with all my artists, they hate the business stuff. They hate the admin stuff. And a lot of what ChatGPT is doing is all the other tools, it's taking that rubbishy bit away that you guys hate. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So that in itself gives you more head space and space in your head for creativity.
Yeah. Part of the reason I've got so many Midjourney pictures is that politically, I decided at art school, putting a picture on the wall, you know, it's very left-wing. We were a very left-wing group, Scritti Politti, at the beginning. It means political writings, and it was taken from a book by Antonio Gramsci called Scritti Politti. And Gramsci wrote about how if you control the common sense, he called it hegemony, of a population, then you don't need guns or anything. You don't need coercion because they police themselves. So we thought we want to get that message out more. You can't do it just putting a picture on a wall. So we decided to form a band. Now, I wasn't a musician. At 23, I decided to give up art and become a musician. I was a good artist and a bad musician. So it was a bit of a wrench, to be honest. And what happened a couple of years ago when Midjourney came out, I thought, I'll just fill in those 50 years that I left.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
I loved screen printing, but I know it takes 2 days to do a decent screen print because each color has to be separated, put on a rack, wait left to dry. You can't get it, even though you're impatient,
Yeah.
can't get it off too early, because if you put it down and you put the next color on, it's going to blur. So it's a very kind of frustrating process to get to your outcome. However, I can do that. I can say, give me this in a screen print style, give me this picture, and it will do it. It doesn't have to wait for the colors to dry. However, all those pictures that I make, I know how to do them manually, because like I say, I was an artist for 23 years. So.
Which was the question I asked you when we first started talking about whether you were going to come on board with me at the gallery. I did say to you, just out of curiosity, could you create that in real life? Because that was a bit of a test in my head of how I felt about the pieces.
Yeah.
And you said, absolutely. And I was like, we're in. Let's go.
Yeah. And I've since done watercolor. I've really studied watercolor, and I know how to let the light come through the watercolor by saying leave more paper, because the white paper is the white in a watercolor. You don't use white paint.
True.
You leave the paper. So I really looked into that, and how you get them glowing, a bit like those Vogue guys. It's different between a picture of your selfie of your friend against a brick wall and a Vogue person looking at you.
Which was quite a shift from what you were originally, the pieces that you were originally doing. And I know when Dave, who's sitting behind the behind the screen over there, he and I had a look at the work that you were doing, and we were just blown away by the watercolor stuff. Like when I've shown that to other people, they've gone, that was done on AI. I go, you need to understand the amount of hours this man has spent crafting his prompting.
Yeah.
It's a prompt craft, isn't it?
Yeah, there is. And like I say, you need to know the white is the paper, and even the texture of the paper. I put in, do it on this paper.
It was bubbly, was it? Or not bubbly, but rough. Yeah.
Rough, and 30% white showing through. So that's why they glow, and you can see whether. I mean, sounds funny to say, but the thing about watercolor, it's not like paint by numbers. It's not like nothing's got a border.
No.
Where the paint ends, that's where the leaves on the tree.
Yeah, because it'll go out as far as it goes.
Yeah, it's where the water ends. You don't go. Now, I want it within that little bubble. I want that a different blue. It's not like that. It's you are the watercolor artist when you're prompting in AI, as you are with any medium. Like I say, screen printing, sculpture. I've done some sculpting in stone, which I may have had time to do between my 30s and 40s, but I was busy being a musician, so I'll just go and get AI to do it now. And probably, when you talk about what's coming, I'm sure 3D printing, I'll be able to soon. I'll just be able to send some of those pictures and say, make this,
Oh, that'd be cool. Yep. That would be very, very
it's
cool.
Fake. It's not fake, because it's kind of insulting when they say that, because it's in your imagination. Right? So if you have imagination, you have a story, you have a song, you have, all these things, they all have outcomes. The reason you write a song, it's not to prove how clever you are, it's so people will dance. And then on the dance floor, as I say, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, they then feel good. They go out and do good things in the world. It's not like, hear my song, it's punk rock. So what?
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
I think that leads me into a really good question that I was going to ask you, actually, which was around good examples and absolutely shite examples of the use of AI that you've seen out in the world. And it could be, whether it be art or music or filmmaking or what have you. So starting with the good, what is the best example you've seen, besides your own work, obviously, of AI being used brilliantly from a creative perspective?
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to disrupt your question, because
that's
when
cool.
You say, when
disrupt
you said,
away.
What's a shite example? There's a great example on LinkedIn, right, of a whiskey company who were trying to do this very sophisticated advert.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Guy in the tweed suit,
yep.
library, whiskey glass looking great, and yet he only had 3 fingers, on the glass that he was holding. And all the intelligent comments were, "Oh, you're obviously a Dave Allen fan. Dave Allen, the Irish comedian.
Yep.
Because he had a finger missing, and he used to drink on stage, and he used to like whiskey. So all and yet they whipped that advert down, and they now have a real model,
Right.
with holding a real glass, But so that was such a shite example because they obviously thought they could get away with it. And if we're talking about trust, people don't trust that. I mean, if you're inexperienced, right, and you look at those pictures, those early pictures, you're really, really impressed. When you first start using AI, you're really, really impressed with how they are. And at first, all the hands were mangled. And
It has an issue with hands, doesn't it?
It really did. It's
I can't draw hands either.
No, it's got a lot better now. And but to the extent where you could tell they thought, well, it's nearly right. It's so nearly right. Let's use it. Everything else.
If they'd been honest, maybe that may have made a difference. Do you think?
Sorry, what?
If they'd been honest about what they'd used initially and just said this was created by AI, probably would have got a better response, maybe? Maybe not. Who knows?
I think they weren't that intelligent. I think they thought they'd get away. And they may not have even noticed. That's the thing. Because you get so bamboozled by it. It can be, what's the word? Enchantment.
Yeah.
There was an enchantment to the early pictures and songs because it was so revolutionary that you could get anything out of it. So they think, well, what, finger missing? Who cares? Nobody's going to notice. Well, actually, my mate Bruno's song, he sent me this example of a song, and it's from in a style of African music where he met his wife, which is West Africa. And I just thought, well, this is really authentic. You can program the sounds. Like I programmed, this might make me very unpopular, right? I programmed, I wanted it to sound Afro-Celt in a dance style in Africa. So I looked up, and I know Afro-Celt sound system. I was a good friend of Simon Emerson, dead now, but lovely guy. And I looked up all the instruments on a particular track of theirs that I liked, and I listed them all. Bodhrán, this mix of pipes and tin whistle. So I put them all in, do it in that style. I got this absolutely amazing song back with all those instruments in it. I don't see any examples out there in the world, or if I do, I don't know that they're AI. You know what I mean? So someone's poster on the tube may be an AI created picture. Like I say, the whiskey one, it was a giveaway, but I may have seen other adverts where they did get all the fingers right, where I just think that's very attractive. So I don't know is the answer actually, but I do know on some of the AI groups I'm in, there's some amazing work going on. Really, really beautiful. And it's not 70s album covers.
No.
You get enough of that.
I think I'm in one of those groups with you. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Incredible stuff.
Yeah. But a lot of, there's some rubbish too, though.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
But they're playing, aren't they?
You slay all those. You slay them all. You go, wow, that one. And the thing about it, some of them were quite surreal. And I think there's been an AI kind of surrealist revival, because when Dali was doing that and the surrealists, what they did was they made weird things look normal. So all the shading would be right. Like I say, all the shadows.
I love Dali.
But you get an elephant with very spindly legs, and you think, well, that can't really exist, but it does exist because he's done it in such a realistic way that we can't look away. We can't deny it. We can't just go, it's a kid's sketch. They always get the legs wrong. So and the thing is, the surrealists, they didn't just want to impress us with things like that. They wanted to be a political disruption. They had much bigger what's the word? They had a much bigger mission than just to disrupt us aesthetically or visually. They wanted to disrupt things politically. So I think, and this is where, okay, so I can't predict the future, but if I have a hope for the future, it will be AI creates that disruption, both aesthetically, visually, story-wise, and politically, because if you ask anybody who's from the 60s or 70s, or anybody who's done any LSD, any medicinal herbs, kind of visionary stuff.
Yep.
It's illegal. No, there's a reason it's illegal. It's because it opens up our imagination, and governments want us to not imagine anything. They don't educate us to destroy them, obviously. So my dream would be that it becomes normal for us to create kind of visionary things that aren't to do with GDP. They're not to do with quarterly targets.
Yep.
And you'll know if you've watched Simon Sinek says there's two games we're playing. There's the finite game
and the infinite game.
And there's the infinite game. And even
big fan.
And the reason for the infinite game, or being part of the infinite game, is to keep the game going.
Yeah.
It's not to win.
Yeah.
Nobody wins
Participation.
Healthcare. You can win a finite thing within healthcare of, I want to lose, so many pounds by the end of January. So that you can measure. You can't measure, I want to have good health, or I want the nation to have good health. You can, so if AI can be woven into the infinite game, and it can support it, and it can allow us to be part of something much more imaginative that we want to keep going, and everyone's participating in it, and everybody slays as much as they feel kind of everyone slays as many darlings as they can muster, of which the artist will be on top of that hill, slashing and going, oh, that's quite a good one, all right, put that one in the cupboard. So that's what I want it to do. I want it to be the dream of surrealism, which is now delivered to us all, because we don't have to be Dali.
Yep.
All our technique, we can just be Dali on AI without saying in the style of Dali. We can just say, I want a surrealistic picture.
That is a future that I very much look forward to. We're nearly at the end. There's one more question I wanted to ask you, which is interesting that we kind of almost finished on a conversation about another author in Simon Sinek. You yourself have been writing a book, and that's going to be released soonish.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact dates unless you can tell me what those dates are. Tell us a little bit about that book in a minute or two. Tell us about that book.
The book is really about serenading serendipity, chanted to chance, rolling with the rhythm, and something the dance. I haven't got the word for that.
Still playing with it.
I don't want to be doing the dance. It's got to have a D. It could be demolishing the dance or demonstrating the dance. Anyway.
Deconstructing the dance.
Constructing the dance. We got it.
We got it.
All right. I'm going to hit print when I get home. So, so it's going to be self-published. I've been writing it over a couple of years. And funnily enough, it is actually good that you've asked this question at the end, because I got into Midjourney, because I was attracted to it. But also, I wanted to illustrate the book. And in publishing, which is actually a very traditional, quite conservative area, you have to justify every picture. Everything has to be credited. And I thought, I'm just going to make
do it yourself.
Myself. And then I started to come upon these trust issues, because people who loved my writing said, Oh, we love your right. We love your authenticity. We love your, everything you stand for. And these are all fake pictures. You can't put them in the book. So consequently, I've been through quite a journey of fire, trying to keep those people on board. And at the same time thinking, well, if they're not on board, maybe they're not my audience, because I really love the AI pictures and songs and everything. And in the book, there will be QR codes like the one you're about to see now, which go to particular songs. The one on the screen actually goes to a Vimeo page with several songs on it, if you want to hear them. And you'll see those songs are illustrated with AI pictures. Not all the time. Sometimes I'm just in them myself. So it'll be this kind of, I actually think it'd be quite a revolutionary book.
I've read snippets. It's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
So
I mean, people, the writing I'm very confident about, but also I decided to do it the size of an album. And the reason I did that 12-inch album is that when I was a teenager, before social media, our version of social media at school was to walk around with our books, but with album covers.
Oh, amazing.
So, and the earlier the better. So if Jimi Hendrix brought out Are You Experienced, there'd be a couple of us walking around the next day, having gone down the Virgin record.
Amazing.
Walking around. So I thought, why not? And of course, everyone's saying, don't do that. We won't fit onto airport bookshelves. It won't fit into, Waterstone. But I just thought, what the hell? I'll probably only ever write one book. Why not make this book
the be all and end all? Yep.
To see, and also I could hand to people and say, if you want me to come to your conference, or if you want me to come and be a speaker about AI and music or anything, here, take this. And rather than just go, and put it in their bag, they go, where do I put it? And they have to walk home with it under their arm, like we did as teenagers.
Well, I'm really looking forward to the book. I cannot wait. You better be signing one for me. I'll definitely be buying one. Thank you so much for coming on. I think we could have talked for many more hours. Who knows? We might get you on again. In fact, I probably think we will get you on again, because I think there's lots of other things we haven't even uncovered today. But thank you so much for coming on. Thank you to the listeners for being with us today, talking to Tom on Creatives with AI, and continue being curious, everybody. See you later.
Just one more song. Here we are, serenading serendipity. Here we are, chanting to charts. Here we are, rolling with the rhythm. There we go, demolishing the dance. Demolishing the dance floor all night long. Hey, Mistress DJ, one more song. Hey, Mistress DJ, we promise we'll be gone. Just one more song. Just one more song. Serenading serendipity.